All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we have the Dark Horse Racing Area 51 series here tonight at Pocono. Drivers putting their qualifying laps down right now. 85 laps is the race distance, 70 degrees temperature, 808 is the track temp. And however, the big thing now is it is playoff time. So we have, it's going to show 9, but we have 8 drivers involved in the playoffs for this final 4 races. And it's going to be the best driver over those 4 races. So you see them listed here. So you've got Henry Bennett in there. You got Jim Brooks, Alec Coates, Nick DeGroot, Craig Forsyth, Jeff Heisung, Charles Teed, and Matt Wagner. I say Andrew Wood, he did qualify in, but he's being very, very generous, and say he's not going to be able to make all the races, so he's actually going to give up his spot in that top 8 to allow somebody who will be able to run all 4 races. So that with Andrew taking that kind of stepping away from it, that's going to allow Jim Brooks to sneak on in there. So big break for that number 51 driver. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see. Say qualifying just about completed, I believe. There's about 2 minutes left, so we'll let things go for just a moment, and then we will get things going here in just a few minutes. So again, thank you so much for joining us here on Green White Checker TV. As always, of course, got to thank the guys over at Dark Horse, and of course everyone with ESTV as well. So of course you can watch it here on Green White Checker on YouTube, but you can also watch it on ESTV on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and of course always try to take a look out as well, so you also are able to re-air it if you have any Roku devices, things of that nature. So really, really cool what they're able to put out for the fans of esports. I say it's not just Area 51. So they got Dark Horse, they've got other esports, so definitely check them out as well. Alright, qualifying has just completed. So we're going to go ahead and pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. And on pole position, it will be the number 007 of Henry Bennett getting pole position. Charles Teed in second. You got Nick DeGroot in third. Andrew Wood in fourth. Craig Forsyth rounding out our top 5. 6th or 12th, you got Alec Coates, AJ Hobson, Gary Corley, Matt Wagner, Jim Brooks, Jeff Heisung, David Leclerc. So continue on our way through here. You've got then Jack Walls, Joseph DeCiro, Michael Spell, Bud Steele, Benjamin Combs, rounding out those that put down a qualifying lap, and these drivers opting to start towards the back. Not putting down a lap are Joseph Morales, James Ledford, Jimmy Drynan, James Ledford, Don Reedy, apologies, Jimmy Drynan, Kurt Rose, and then Mike Rigney in the 80 machine will be the 23 drivers, I should say, taking part in tonight's event. Alright, so we'll let the timer click away, and then we will start we'll start rolling out of pit road. So front row going to be Henry Bennett and Charles Teed. Like I said, those are going to be two of our playoff contenders right off the bat. And then with them, again, we mentioned, so you see Nick DeGroot there in third. You got Craig Forsyth in fifth. And then you have as well Alec Coates. So I say look at some of the playoff contenders, and they're all right together here. I believe pretty much all of them here in, I think, the top 10 or 11 spots. So you're trying to see where one of the furthest back drivers qualify. I think maybe Jeff Heisong in 11th, as crazy as that is. So I'll say it's gonna be some tough competition here tonight. I say duty mention, unfortunately, I think gonna be rolling solo tonight. I say my normal partner in crime, Steve Goschak, had to kind of do some medical stuff, so say he's kind of relaxing and just taking it easy. So Steve, definitely hope everything went well. Look forward to talking to you as well. But I say definitely going to miss you tonight. I know a lot of the viewers going to be missing you as well, because I think you're the real reason these guys have been watching this this stuff over here on Area 51 and on Green White Checker TV. So miss you, but look forward to getting you back 100% here and get back in the booth with me. And with Steve being out and about, say maybe this might be an opportunity. We'll maybe try to look into bringing back our in-race reporter. So we'll keep an eye out, maybe pull him out when he's not expecting, and that's going to be the 11 of Matt Wagner. So I'll say we'll definitely try to keep an eye, maybe see if we can pull him in from time to time. Looks like Matt's going to start in the 10th position here, actually the 9th position, apologies. As again, we're going to get things going here for tonight's 86 lap event, as the field comes around through turn number 3. So you'll be able to see on the wall occasionally there's going to be a nice little sign that says what turn for, and that is definitely the case here at Pocono as the green flag flies, and we are underway here. 86 laps is the race distance here tonight at Pocono, as Henry Bennett's going to lead the field to the green. You see right off the bat, everybody's going to fan out, try to find some clean air on the front wings of these cars. So you see right now Nick DeGroot gets a good run on the inside, but then has to roll out of it. Got real tight there, and now it's going to be all about time trying to protect the track position here. Henry Bennett going to try to protect there. Charles Teed gets a great run through the tunnel turn. He's going to send it on the inside through the tunnel turn. He's going to take the point, but now, actually we've got one up against the wall. I think that's all. We got multiple cars involved here. 2 of our championship contenders, I believe, as well. You got Jim Brooks in the 51. He's took multiple hits. Now he gets another shot there. Matt Wagner caught up in this as well. I believe Gary Corley was also in this. Looks like Don Reedy as well. So unfortunately, a lot of drivers caught up. I think Jeff Heisong as well. So right off the bat, a lot of drivers taking some pretty solid shots, having to take toes back to the pits here. So we're going to go back and try to see what all unfolded here to bring out this yellow. Because they say it was towards the front, I believe. Let's try to see if we can get a good shot of where it was, though. So let's go back a little ways here. Still a little too early. Let's go further back. We'll take a look at the 7 of... Oh, you see Matt Wagner, he washes up a little bit. Gary Corley also pretty high here. Those two in a tight spot. And I think possibly contact between the 11 and the 7. And I think that may have been what kind of kicked it all off. And then you see, I think Matt had some suspension damage after that contact. Sends him right into Jim Brooks. Nothing Jim could do, unfortunately. Just kind of a victim there, unfortunately, through the short chute here. And so you can see those cars getting caught up in that one. And then it say somewhere a little further back, you see cars trying to get checked up for it. And I say that's where you see the contact with Don Reedy. These cars washing back up the track, and unfortunately for Don, right into his path here. And so he makes heavy contact, avoids the 7, but makes heavy contact with the 51. And so a lot of cars here having to go straight to the pit. So as we said, of course, caution is out. And so that's going to, believe with the timing of that caution, it's going to cycle Charles Teed to the front. So he's going to get a lap led in that number 5 machine. And it looks like pit strategy wise, not a lot of pit stops taking place right off the bat. And so yeah, so it looks like everybody for the most part staying out. A few drivers topping off towards the back. That's the next thing to bring up. It's going to be the fuel window. It's going to be about in the low 20s. 22 laps is what I've been hearing for full rich. So maybe drivers able to go mid 20s at least in the draft here. So that's going to be the next strategy, of course, is see what those guys can do. But do need to mention, though, you see the 11, the 51 on 00 here, still sitting in pit road, waiting for their tows to complete. I think Jeff Heisong might be in the same boat here. So yeah, so it's going to be now, I think, kind of a race between these guys to see who can get out of the pits first in order to be able to try to kind of recover the race. You can see, I mean, the 51 car, I mean, he's missing the left rear tire, whole wheel assembly there for sure. So unfortunately, a really tough break to start for the playoffs for those guys. For, like I mentioned, the 11 of Matt Wagner, the 51 of Jim Brooks, and then also the 11, or sorry, the 18, I should say, of Jeff Heisong, all getting caught up in this one. And I'll have to double check here, but I'm showing on my screen showing Jeff Heisong actually being retired from the event. So I'll have to check on that. As you see, Jim Brooks, he's able to get back out on track. Matt Wagner as well. And see Don Reedy leaving pits. So that's all. That thing for them now is that's their fast repairs. They have none left here the remainder of this race. But I still don't see Jeff Heisong in the server. So unfortunately, at this point, it's going to be showing Jeff Heisong in the 22nd position. It's going to be very, very tough to overcome those bad races early. So he's still got 3 races to try to recover points, but obviously in a tough spot early on here. So while we're under yellow, while I'm rolling solo tonight, we'll step away for just a moment, and we'll get things back going again. I say we're on the Wendigo, but we'll wait till out of the tunnel turn, and then we'll jump back in here in just a moment. Alright, as the field runs through the tunnel turn here, as you see, lights are off of the pace car. Do need to mention Joseph Morales in the 60 car. He opted to top off here on the Wendigo. I personally really like the strategy. I say he qualified in the 18th spot. He still sits in 18th. So now if he can try to work the field numbers, maybe he can see if he can do something, go a little bit off strategy, maybe put him at an advantage on the field, maybe go a lap further than the rest of the field. So you never know when a little extra fuel is going to go a long way. So it'll be fun to see if that comes into play here tonight. But right now, though, it's going to be everybody's going to be watching here. This number 5 of Charles Teed, he's got control of this restart. Pace car is in. Wait for Charles here to drop the hammer, and he is down and away. You see, right away, everybody's starting to try to jockey. Use that long straightaway here down the front stretch, long and wide. As you can see, everybody trying to move to get a little bit of clean air, and you see right there, say Charles not getting a great start there, looks like, because right there the Henry Bennett able to jump all over him here, grab the lead out of turn number 1, and he's going to go straight into protect mode on the inside line here. Charles Teed going to try to pick up the tow, and then you got Nick DeGroot right there, Andrew Wood, Craig Forsyth right now rounding out our top 5 here. Oh, we got trouble again down in the tunnel turn. It looks like Benjamin Combs. Oh no, more contact for the 51 of Jim Brooks. I think that might be night over for him. And I think I just saw another car get caught up in that one as well. Gonna go back and try to check with Benjamin Combs who he had contact with. I believe it was it's the 48 of James Ledford. He's gonna try to limp this thing back to the pits, but unfortunately, I believe that's gonna be day done for the 51 machine of Jim Brooks. We'll see what happened, but unfortunately, each time the tunnel turn, unfortunately, winds up biting him tonight. So let's go back, try to see if we can find exactly what happened here. we're going to speed things up here as we go through turn number 1. See already a close call there out of turn 1 here. And we're going to watch this 77 car. We're going to slow things down and try to get a better look to see what happened. Let's say it's always tough to try to find great angles here. So we'll watch as he comes into the tunnel turn. You see Jim Brooks peeking to his outside, saying Jim's trying to keep Matt Wagner behind him to be in that lucky dog position. So we'll watch as they go through the tunnel turn. You see Jim running pretty high up on the top here. And I see Benjamin running pretty low, but it looks like in front of him you see the 88 of Michael Spell. He gets a little loose. And I think you're going to see is Jim reacting to that. And yeah, it comes down across and actually netcode winds up. They said they didn't initially make contact, but then unfortunately that second little bit that connects the 51 and the 77. And that's what makes them get into one another. So you see Matt Wagner just sneak by. So I think for Matt, that's going to allow him to, put him in the lucky dog position. We'll have to kind of wait and see on that one. But unfortunately, that damage to this number 77 car just unfortunately has no control here. Just washes up, and James Ledford unfortunately gets into the back of him. And you see Jim Brooks trying to limp his car back to the pits and say that's where the contact was between the two of those drivers here. So yeah, it's been a tough start here tonight to open things off here at Pocono. So we'll jump back live here. Again, doesn't look like a lot of strategy up front. Leaders all opting to stay out. Joseph Morales, he does hit pit road once more. Matt Wagner is going to get that wave around, so I'll put Matt back onto lead lap. A huge break for that 11 car. And then, so right now, it's going to keep Don Reedy on the lead lap. But it looks like James Ledford and Benjamin Combs, they both had to take a tow back to the pits. Actually, no, as I said, here comes Benjamin now. He's actually rolling out now, so may have been able to actually limp that car back to pit road. So we'll see if he's able to. I'm not sure if it was if he went for a fast repair or try to do some repairs manually. However, James Ledford, Jim Brooks, both sitting on pit road. So yeah, again, I believe that might be evening over for that number 51 machine. So again, very tough start to the playoffs for him. Jeff Heisung as well, as now it looks like Jim Ledford leaving pit road as well. So yeah, it's unfortunately been a tough one to open this one up here tonight. So again, with that, while we're under yellow, we'll step away for a moment, and we'll get back here again once we get to that tunnel turn here on the one to go. All right, pace car is going to head back in. It's going to put it into the hands of Henry Bennett this time. We'll see kind of a restart how he compares to the 5 last time around. So we've had 2 quick early yellows here as we start restart here on coming to lap number 9 of 86. And you see right away he's going to try to break that draft off of that number 5 of Charles Teed. So I say you're going to see a lot of snaking here down the front stretch until I get into turn number 1. And I say hopefully everybody's been able to get settled in here. So right now, Henry Bennett, he's going to lead the way. You got Charles Teed behind him, Nick DeGroot there in 3rd. As again, they snake down the backstretch here until they hit the tunnel turn, and then be heading into the long pond straightaway here out of the tunnel turn. And right now, Henry's done the best job so far, being able to actually hold the lead for half a lap. As I said, there goes the number 5 of Charles Teed. He's going to try to work the inside here through turn number 3. And we'll see, it's going to be now about the kind of short distance first momentum. And it looks like Henry's going to hang on to that momentum, go straight back to the inside line in that 007 car. So right now these guys, I think, again, really trying to fight hard for position here, trying to hang on to kind of the track position they've got. So it'll be fun to see what they've got in store for us. So say we did get a clean lap in, so that's the thing as the field spreads out a little bit here, I think it's going to kind of help that green flag racing continue on. Duty mentioned some drivers that did pit on that 1 to go include the 11 of Matt Wagner, who right now sits in 15th position. Joseph Morales behind him in 16th, and then Kurt Rose in 17th. So those 3 drivers opted to go ahead and pit on that 1 to go. I think it's a great call for those guys. Didn't you mention also Jim Brooks? Honestly, for me, surprisingly, he is still on track, and it looks like he's able to hold the draft. So I think he might still be able to salvage something. Right now, he is 2 laps down. But we do have a handful of cars 1 down, including Benjamin Combs, James Ledford. So we're going to have to really hustle to try to get themselves back out onto the lead lap. And double check here. And I believe, yeah, Jeff Heisong, he's back out on track as well. So I'm not sure if it's something related to the incident or a connectivity issue or what happened to that number 18 as well. But he is back out on track as well, however, sitting 5 laps down. So unfortunately, some of these guys in a very tough position. But we're going to jump back up front because Charles Teed just took the point back from that 007 of Henry Bennett. At the line, Charles just going to hold on to lead that lap there as we start lap number 12 here. And I see field starting to spread out just a little bit here. Andrew Wood, he's starting to creep into the picture a little bit in that 64. But you see the momentum on the top side, though, for Nick DeGroot. Looks like that's going to be something to keep an eye on here. As right now, Craig Forsyth, I think I kind of like where Craig is. He's right with these lead pack drivers, but he's got a little bit of buffer behind him. Doesn't have to stress about that rear wing getting kind of attacked from these guys behind. Well, as I say that, though, great fight going on now with AJ Hobson. Alec Coates right there with them, Bud Steele. And then also David Leclerc. So say we got a really good little pack right here as well as they come out of turn number 3. And again, it's going to be all about, I think, getting in that draft window, catching the draft, and then really trying to make some speed. You see a big move there from Bud Steele. He's going to go kind of work the elevator here top to bottom. See if he can get 2 in 1 here as they go through turn number 1. But again, looks like that momentum for Alec Coates on the top side might prevail here out of turn number 1. Right now, Bud's trying to be one of the highest climbers of the race. He's sitting at +8 right now in these opening couple of laps, so definitely made some pretty big gains right now. Just a little bit behind him in the 99 car, Jimmy Dryden. Right now, Jimmy's our highest climber, 9 positions gained thus far. Again, still a lot of racing to go in this one. I say we just started lap number 14 for our leaders. I say right now, Henry Bennett, Charles Teed, they've been kind of playing leapfrog. I think Nick DeGroot might be ready to join the party with these guys here. So we'll hop on board and try to see if we can get a good listen for how he's having to kind of regulate. So I'm going to be quiet for a minute, let you guys listen to the onboard here of Nick DeGroot and see if we can maybe learn from him, see what he's doing here to try to keep that car going around the track here. couple laps there with Nick DeGroot. So I got a great run out of 3. He was able to get around Charles Teed. I say again though, say these guys are just gonna keep trying to snake around here. Say Henry Bennett, I say he's got about a 0.4 of a second lead, but that's not enough in these cars. That's gonna still be enough to pick up the tow. So that's why you see Henry trying to break the draft, and that's why you see all these drivers following right in pace with him. And so I mean that's what you're gonna have to do here with these cars, because again they pull a pretty big draft here. So usually it's about a 1.5 seconds or so roughly, and you can start really picking up the draft from these guys. So right now, so you can see as Nick DeGroot, he's got right back to that 007 Henry Bennett here as we start now coming to lap number 17 of 86. And so we'll jump around a little bit more, because right now Andrew Wood, he's trying to work his way forward now in that 64 car. Looks like he's just been able to sneak around Charles Teed. So move Andrew Wood now back up into the 3rd position here. Charles back to 4th for the moment, but also right now into the crosshairs of Craig Forsyth, while Craig's actually going to peek to the top side here. See if he can keep that momentum working on the top side through the tunnel turn. And yeah, it looks like Charles is going to give a little bit. So now move Craig Forsyth up into 4th, Charles to 5th. And then up front, Henry Bennett has got a mirror full of that 89 of Nick DeGroot. But right now, it looks like Nick's pretty content to just kind of cruise here. I thought he might try to make a big move there, but you saw how much ground he lost there out of turn number 3 just with, again, with that arrow push. So he's getting probably gained all back here on the front stretch. But that just shows, and again, you can just see the snake that these drivers do here through the front stretch. So their hardest climbers, they're fighting their way to each other here. Bud Steele now up into 9th, plus 7 for him, plus 11 for Jimmy Drennan now in that 99 into that top 10. So say right now these two having a good opening start. And say other big thing for Jimmy is he's got a little bit of the breathing room now. He's got about a 1.8 seconds off Joseph DeCiro. So say Joseph now is gonna, and he's actually got a little bit of a gap over Jack Wall's 1.3 seconds. So say Joseph in a pretty safe place here right now. Not a lot of guys too close in front, nobody too far behind, too close behind him. However, Jack Walls, though, he has got a train of cars that are trying to, I'm sure, work their way around him. As there goes Michael Spellman try to make a move. You see Matt Wagner there, Benjamin Combs, and it's going to be a mixed bag of what these drivers want to do. Some are going to, I think, going to be working some fuel numbers. As you see Matt Wagner, he's going to get a 2-for-1 there on that front stretch. Grab the 83, grab the 88, and he's going to now move himself up to 12th position, because they say he's got to try to regain some of that track position lost at after that first incident there on the tunnel turn in lap number 1. So again, need to mention, leaders have yet to pit. The first driver that has pitted is actually now the 11 of Matt Wagner. He pitted on lap number 7. I believe also actually topping off. Oh, I actually think I just saw Gary Corley may have just caught the wall there out of the turn number 3. We'll have to keep an eye and see how that car handles into turn 1. Right now, it looks like the pace is okay. It was very close. They may have been able to get away with it if it was just light enough of a hit. But say if he did get a good shot, that car's going to definitely get tight. Saying this is definitely an easy place to do so, especially, like I said, in the wake of some of these other cars here. You see Nick DeGroot trying to work the top of Henry Bennett. Might be able to grab a lap lead. He does, so give a lap lead to the 89 now of Nick DeGroot. Henry Bennett's going to fall back into that 2nd position. And so you see Charles Teedy's fallen off just a little bit from these guys. Not too bad, but about a second or so off of them. And he's actually starting to kind of come into the clutches of Alec Coates and David Leclerc here. I'll say those two cars making some pretty big gains here. And you can see bringing along some friends as well with AJ Hobson right there. So of course, we talked about Bud Steele and Jimmy Dryden here as well. So I'll say this 4-car, 5-car pack up front's about to become a 10-car pack. Just with the overall pace that these guys have at the moment here. I see Nick DeGroot may have been trying to save his tires a little bit. Now he's trying to see if he can sneak away from these guys. But I don't think he's going to be able to shake some of these guys like Henry Bennett, Andrew Wood, Craig Forsyth. So I think these have been probably 4 of the strongest cars this season, week after week. One of the drivers missing from the group right now, probably the 11 of Matt Wagner, but I don't think we're done seeing the last of the 11 car yet as well. So, but right now, though, I do need to mention, you saw Alec Coates try to make a move in Charles Teed. Couldn't quite do it, so he had to regroup here. And then it's all about trying to regain the momentum and give another chance to chase him back down. So, right now, though, like I said, top 10 here, all kind of running together here, all in about 3.5 seconds. So they've all in that draft window. And like I mentioned, Joseph DeCiro, he's kind of in his own little pocket here. He's got about 2.5 seconds in front of him, 2 seconds behind him. However, Matt Wagner is slowly but surely trying to close that gap. But last time by, it was only 0.02 of a second difference between the two of them. And then saying that's a big crowd here behind Michael Spell, like we just mentioned, with Jack Walls is right there. You got Gary Corley here, not too far behind. And then you have a couple cars that are lapped down right now. And that's going to be the next thing right now. I think right now Benjamin Combs, I believe, is the first car one down. And he's going to be fighting to keep James Ledford behind him. So Benjamin can't rest too easy right now because he's got to keep Benjamin Combs has to keep James Ledford and Don Reedy behind him in that 00 car. So pit stops looks like, big slide there for David Leclerc. He hits pit road here starting lap 24. So he's one of our first leaders to pit here at that 24 lap mark. So we'll see, does this, I think we're going to start seeing pit road be very busy very soon here. So these drivers have to make sure they were on top of their fuel mileage as well to make sure that this is not a track you want to risk sputtering at. Alright, so we're going to see on the pit strategy side of things, do we see any pit stops here coming out of 3? We do not. I'm really surprised. We have one taker. It's going to be Alec Coates. He's going to hit pit road in the 3 car. So he's coming in at lap number 25. So I think we're definitely seeing these drivers aren't using everything that they have right now. So I would say I think that's, again, we talked about the strategy call. We saw the 50 David Leclerc. He's the first of our leaders to pit. Now Alec Coates hits pit road as well in that 3 machine. But up front, though, it's still going to be Nick DeGroot, who's, again, isn't going to be able to separate himself from these top 3 drivers that you see. Andrew would just sneak around Henry Bennett there. Craig Forsyth not too far behind in that 4th spot as well. And I think once one of these leaders comes in, we'll probably see all of them in, because I have a feeling they're probably all running very similar fuel numbers. As here comes Nick DeGroot, here comes Henry Bennett. Also brings in Charles Teed, AJ Hobson, Joseph DeCiero's hitting pit road as well. So I say Michael Spell's coming in. So you say this is pretty much it's feeding time here on pit road. But it does cycle Andrew Wood now to the point. He's going to bring Craig Forsyth along with him. So those guys able to save a little bit more fuel here. As I say, they come across the line here. We're going to have 60 to go, I believe, next time by. And so we talked about that. Those numbers are going to be critical because, again, if you want to try to make it, probably want to split it up evenly. If you can do a 20, 40, 60 basically on the pit stops, that should make him in a pretty good window here. So we'll keep an eye. I think we'll see Andrew Wood in here. He comes. Craig Forsyth is going to try to make a big charge here on the brakes. It looks like gains a little bit of time. He's going to bring Bud Steele, Jimmy Dryan in as well. And that's going to promote Matt Wagner to the lead here. Again, Matt pitted on lap number 7, so he can go a little bit further than these guys. And he's got clean air behind him, so he doesn't have to worry about anybody trying to draft back up to him. He's got about 6 seconds on Joseph Morales, so the 5 seconds now it looks like. So you got Joseph Morales, Jack Walls, and Kurt Rose. These drivers all pitted, I believe, on lap number 7, so they're going to stretch their numbers here a little bit here. And then, well, of course, the next question is going to be to see where all these drivers cycle out in relation to one another. And, of course, so I haven't really looked at it, but pit exit going to be very, very crucial to make sure you do not make any mistakes on that pit exit. It's very easy to overshoot and just kind of make a mistake, catch the apron in turn number 1. We're going to listen now to the 11 of Matt Wagner's. So we saw how much the 89 of Nick DeGroot was having to lift in the dirty air. I don't think we're going to hear that here with Matt Wagner. I think this car is going to be matted to the floor using all the clean air he possibly can here. And we'll see if he has to lift a little bit in 3. Nope, I think that's just some G-forces. However, he is going to hit pit road now. He's going to bring that number 11 in. Not sure if this is him just go ahead and doesn't want to stretch it too far. Doesn't want to risk a caution coming out, put him in a bad spot. And it does look like he's bringing a few others with him. Jack Walls is hitting pit road along with Benjamin Combs, Jim Brooks, Don Reedy, and Jeff Heisong. That's going to cycle the lead now to the number 60 of Joseph Morales. And then in second place now is the 61 of Kurt Rose. These two still need to make their final stops. These are the last 2 drivers yet to hit pit road. So we'll see how many more laps they can run in these 2 cars and maybe try to pull some alternate strategy here tonight. Say, looks like Kurt Rose is rolling out. Yep, here comes Kurt Rose. He's going to hit pit road from second position. However, again, Joseph Morales is going to go a little further here, so he's going to make it to lap number 30 in that number 60 machine. So yeah, so right now the fuel mileage is definitely working well for him. Saying we're going to, once everything cycles through, we'll see drivers that are maybe trapped a lap or so. Oh, see one spinning on the exit of turn number 1. Oh, heavy contact. I think Jimmy Dryden catches a piece of it as well. I suspect this will bring a caution out. It does, yeah. Jimmy Dryden, unfortunately, making contact. I believe it was with the 00 of Don Reedy. Yeah, it was. So we're going to go back. We'll try to take a look to see exactly what happened between the two of them. I believe that was Don Reedy leaving the pits, and we talked about that could be a trouble spot. And unfortunately, I think we just saw that exact example of it here. So we'll watch here as he leaves pit road. We'll slow things down so we can get a better look at it. But I think what we're going to see here is it looks like he's trying to stay on the apron, but you see that car starting just kind of just starting to touch that yellow line on the outside. And we've always talked about week in and week out how just how sensitive these cars are with difference of banking here. It's also possible maybe just got a little too aggressive on the throttle. But yeah, you can see right there, straddles the line there on the banking. As in that car from there, he's just a passenger. The car just goes straight around. You can see the car's locked down there for a moment and then just washes right up into the path of Jimmy Dryden. Nothing Jimmy can do. And I say both those cars taking really big shots there, unfortunately. And I say I believe both of them also having to take a tow. So this is going to change the cycle here under the pit stop, under this pit stop window. So we'll kind of see, we'll reset everything, see where everybody is back once again. However, Joseph Morales, he's going to have to hit pit road here in the 60 this time, which will drop him to the back of the group here. And that's the risk of Pocono, is you can pit and not lose a lap. So unfortunately for Joseph Morales, if none of these drivers choose to pit, they're going to all cycle out behind him. And I believe Michael Spell is going to be the first car one down, as you can see him working his way up here to the group. So I believe Michael Spell, he's going to be the first car one down, so he'll get his lap back. And I'm trying to see the last driver to make a pit stop under green, I believe. I know somebody ran a little bit longer. I think it was Kurt Rose. So Kurt timed that pit stop perfectly because he had just completed his cycle. He stays on the lead lap, and he's got the most fuel of anybody now that have yet to pit. And yeah, as predicted here, none of the leaders are pitting except for Joseph Morales. Alec Coates, he does hit pit road. A little surprised by that call from the 3 car. Maybe he's trying to go off strategy a little bit, possibly. And actually, I really thought Kurt would stay out here, but Kurt Rose, he's going to hit pit road as well. So again, maybe trying to do some alternate strategy on the pit stop side of things. So, but yeah, unfortunately, heavy shots for Jimmy Dryden. You can see his car there missing the whole right front section, I should say. So yeah, pretty brutal shot for him, and unfortunately for Don Reedy as well. So so we are back under yellow here at lap number 32 of 86, third caution of the evening. So again, we'll step away for just a moment, and then we'll get back here again on the one to go. All right, lights are off on the pace car. They're coming through the tunnel turn now. And you see, as you see on the screen here, it's Andrew Wood who's been able to get to the point after the pit stop cycles. So he pitted on lap number 26. It was lap number 25 for Henry Bennett, Nick DeGroot, Craig Forsyth on 26, Charles Teed on 25. David Leclerc pitted early on lap number 23 on that 50 machine. And then one of the furthest drivers up that pitted the latest is Matt Wagner on lap number 28 in the 11 car. Again, I kind of question if he maybe pitted a little bit too early in that 11 car, but as we saw with the timing of that caution, so he could have only gotten probably about one more lap, otherwise that caution would have fell, and he would have wound up cycling pretty much in the back of all these guys. So a few drivers did decide to go ahead and make a pit stop under this caution, including Alec Coates and Kurt Rose. As we mentioned, Lucky Dog is Michael Spell, as green flag is out, as Andrew Wood's going to lead the field this time around. And you can see again, Henry Bennett is just on top of these restarts. You say he's definitely been one of the quickest through the gears here on these opening couple of restarts. We've seen it once now with Henry Bennett and Andrew Wood, and then once earlier with Henry and Charles Teed in the 5 machine. As they're going to go 3 wide here through the straightaway. See, someone's going to have to give in tunnel turn, and it looks like it will be Andrew. We've seen this is where things get real sketchy on the first lap or so on these restarts, but it looks like everybody's going to make it through clean. So we'll get into turn number 3 here and try to complete lap 34, get to 35. As a big move from David Leclerc, really trying to work the momentum on this top side. As it looks like he's going to clear Craig Forsyth, move David into the top 5 now. As you see, I believe that's Jimmy Dryden hitting pit road in the background, unfortunately. It's a bad day. It looks like might be going worse for him. Oh, I think Charles Teed had a bit of a moment there out of turn number 1. You can see everybody's working by him. He lost a ton of momentum here. So not sure what happened. We'll see if he gets back up to speed or not, but right now that 5 car is in a bad spot right here. Looks like Charles might be back up to speed again. But man, yeah, so whatever happened, that cost him about 5 spots there. And it looks like continuing to drop. Not sure if he's losing a little bit of top end possibly in the 5 car. I wonder if he might have a little bit of front wing damage, maybe made some contact somewhere. So we'll keep an eye on Charles and see if he's able to kind of work his way back forward, because again, one of our playoff contenders, so he definitely wants to try to be back out in the front of this thing. But right now we got a little bit of a 2-car breakaway here. You've got Nick DeGroot and Henry Bennett. They've been able to sneak away just a little bit, while Andrew Wood, he's having to try to wrestle away from David Leclerc, as these two are going at it pretty heavy here through turn number 3. As again, David's going to try to use the momentum here on the top side. We saw it work last time by. Can he do it again? And it looks like he does get a really solid exit here and has the nose ahead here through the front stretch. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm rolling solo here tonight, Jamie. And yes, I would love to sign your baby. So your people will get a hold of my people, and we'll get that set up here later on tonight. But yeah, say Steve obviously had some medical procedures, so wanted to take it a little bit easy. And I've told Steve from day one. I mean, say it's always family first, health first, stuff like that. I'm never gonna say I'm not that important. So. I miss him, but it'll be fun to have him back as well, hopefully next week. Yeah, and you see right now, I think Nick DeGroot and Henry Bennett are doing what I refer to as leapfrog. You're going to see the 89 car, he's going to pass the 80, 89 is going to pass the 007, the 007 is going to pass the 89, and because again, you can't tandem draft in these cars. Let's say if you try to push one another, it's not going to end well. You're going to have probably some front wing damage, and are probably one just hooking the car and spinning out here. But yeah, right now though, you can see they're building a really solid gap here, almost at the 1.5 second mark over Andrew Wood, and that might make it where Andrew isn't in a window where he can catch these guys back without having some outside help as well. So let's say Nick DeGroot here, Henry Bennett kind of working together here to try to maybe put the race between the two of them, depending on how the rest of this one goes. So really smart strategy from our two leaders here as we just cross the line. That 39 next time by is going to be lap 40, so very quickly approaching the halfway point of the race. So we talked about one of the drivers, Mr. Adversity, this season. It feels like Matt Wagner. Say he's been doing that again here. Say got caught a lap down early with that lap 1 incident in the tunnel turn. Now he's trying to work his way back towards the top 5, working underneath the 50 of David Leclerc, and see if he can work himself into that top 5 once he can try to get around him and the 6 of Bud Steele. Alright, so you see, again, leaders here doing what they can. Still holding pretty close here between that 1.4, 1.5 second margin. Actually stretching out to about 1.6. So really, Andrew's best friend here is going to be Craig Forsyth. He needs Craig to catch the draft of that 64 car and then be able to, maybe they can kind of return that leapfrog approach. As well as you see in the background, Matt Wagner just got around the 50 David Leclerc. And he is bringing Charles Teed back up here in the mix with, I think David's up against the wall here in 3. Able to get, he gets back into it. I thought he had it cleared, but then he gets stuck back up against it. That's going to be hard enough contact. That car is going to be in trouble here, and I think he's already past the pit entry. So this is going to be a tough spot for David. He's going to have to try to limp this car back through the pits unless he takes a tow here. So watch as he goes straight to the inside here. I think a little bit of a frustration hit there as well, as it looks like he's going to back this car down. I believe probably going to have to take a tow or possibly, unfortunately, retire from this event. So bad break for David. He's had a really good run going, but a little mistake there winds up costing him dearly. But right now, those top 2 still trying to continue to stretch their gap out a little bit. The last time by, Andrew Wood is about a 1/10 of a second quicker. So I think he's back in that draft window. So those guys are going to have to get back after it again here if they want to try to separate themselves from Andrew. And in the process, he's been able to separate himself from Craig Forsyth. Now that's down to or up to about 1.3, 1.4 seconds. So then you got is everything starting to kind of equal out a little bit here. You can see the gap now to Bud Steele, to Matt Wagner. So you got Charles Teed there. He's got AJ Hobson. Actually, no, I'm sorry, that's not AJ Hobson. That is the 18 of Jeff Hysong, who's trapped multiple laps down at the moment. But you can see this field is really starting to spread out now as we've gotten these laps under our belts here. So you can see again, Andrew again puts down one of the fastest laps of the race, actually even faster this time, 41.42, 0.2 of a second quicker than our leaders. You can see he's got that gap down to just about a second. So say Andrew really putting the hammer down here, trying to catch these guys back to the front here. So it says this is his best opportunity. The only thing is, of course, I think right now all of these leaders here, they're probably burning max fuel right now. So I don't think there's any fuel savings going on with any of these leaders. I think they're still okay to make it all on the same pit strategy, but I think we're going to, based on this though, I think we're going to be seeing all the leaders come in right around the same time, which right now we're on lap number 43, coming to 44 now, and say they pitted on lap number 25 to 28 range, so I suspect we're going to see the leaders in probably about the next 3 or so laps as we just cross the halfway point. But Andrew Wood definitely fighting his way to get back into the lead battle here, and done a really good job of doing so here. So we'll run through the field a little bit here. We've been talking about our top 3 plenty. So we mentioned Craig Forsyth still sitting solidly in 4th, about that 1.3 off of Andrew's. Going to need a little bit more here. And then here comes Bud Steele. He's about 2.5 off the group in that 5th position. And then say here comes Matt Wagner. Say got caught up in that lap 1 incident, was a lap down, was able to make the most of it when there's unfortunately a second incident on the second restart. And say now Matt Wagner trying to work his way back into the top 5. Charles Teed, he had something happen to him on this last run, dropped a bunch of spots back. Now he's trying to recover as well. He's gotten himself back up into 7th. As you see right there, the 18 of Jeff Hysong got a little tight there through turn 1. It's going to let Charles hold on to that position. So it's not for position, but track position, of course. And then behind Charles is AJ Hobson in that 4 car, who's right behind the 18. So that's right now, that's the battle between the 5 and the 4 is a track position battle. Jump a little further back, you see the 3 of Alec Coates. Alec was one of those guys, he pitted on lap number 31 under yellow, so he can go a little further than leaders, maybe going off cycle on the strategy. Maybe we'll see if he can pull anything out of his sleeves. And right now, rounding out the top 10 is Joseph DeCiro in that 110. And then you got Michael Spell in 11th. Jack Walls is in 12th, and actually in a gaggle of cars as well here. So I think he's got I'm trying to see who all is with him there. I think that is James Ledford, who's right there with him, and I believe that was the 60 of Joseph Morales that just got by. You see Jim Brooks is in that mix as well. Kurt Rose is in here as well. Saying Kurt's one of those drivers also. He pitted under that caution. So maybe if we'll listen to Kurt Rose here. I wonder if Kurt maybe trying to save some fuel, maybe trying to see if he can do something, run a little bit longer. Maybe have to take, if he has an opportunity, maybe take one less pit stop, or maybe just a splash of fuel, gain him a lot of track position here. Yeah, you can hear him lifting that car. He is saving a ton of fuel here. Obviously, you can save on the lifting. You can also save using a different fuel map, possibly running map 5, just full lean. Map 1 is full rich. For those that aren't aware, you can run it basically 1 through 5 are the various adjustments you can make on the fuel mixtures for ovals. 6 and 7 usually a fuel map for the road courses, and then map 8 is the caution fuel map. So yeah, so a lot of potentials going on here. As Henry Bennett, he hits pit road here at lap number 48, so that's at 39 to go. But you can see Nick, actually see one spinning on the pit entry. I think that was Charles Teed. I think he saved it, but it was a big moment. He was trying to get everything he could out of that car there. But you can see, though, with all this going on, though, it's allowed, we mentioned Andrew Wood was closing on them. He's down to now about a half a second away. And then even Craig Forsyth, he's really closed the gap as well. I think he's starting to pick up some toe as well. Last time by, he was about 0.2 of a second quicker. So Craig doing a great job to bring himself back into this fight as well with these leaders. All right, Nick DeGroot, he just hits pit road as well in the 89 car, so that's going to cycle Andrew Wood back to the point. Craig Forsyth in second. And then we've got Matt Wagner now up into third after his pit strategy. So we'll have to see how this is all going to cycle out here, as we still got a few more drivers here to finish their pit stop cycle. And you can see with that, look at the 5 of Charles Teed. He is right on the tail end of the lead lap. He needs this to cycle through here, and he needs to stay ahead of Andrew Wood as well. But I believe he's going to get a little bit of a reprieve, because here comes Andrew Wood. He's going to hit pit road. Craig Forsyth, he's going to make a big entry here in the pits, trying to gain as much time as he possibly can. Also going to bring in Bud Steele with him, as well as Matt Wagner. Again, he's going to stay out here. Again, he pitted later, so he can go a little further in right now than these guys. So Matt Wagner going to cycle back to the front, bring Alec Coates now up into second. Again, Alec pitted under caution, so he can also go a fair distance further than some of these guys. And the one I'm really intrigued about, though, the 60 of Joseph Morales, I think he topped off on the one to go. But then Kurt Rose, he's been drafting this whole time, and we know how much fuel you can save in these Indy cars. So I'm really going to be watching the 61 and see if maybe he can pull a rabbit out of his hat here. Maybe be able to take one less pit stop here, potentially, than our race leaders. So right now, say we're in the middle of that pit window, so that's where some drivers are going to be a little nervous. We have a few drivers that are trapped a lap down after their pit stops, including Michael Spell. He's made a pit stop, so right now he's cycled out of the lead lap. You see Bud Steele actually getting put down a lap down as well here. I'll say Joseph DeCiro not too far from getting put down a lap as well. And I'm saying for Matt, this is tough because, again, these guys are on fresh tires. They want to stay on the lead lap because it's just so crucial for their races. But for Matt, he needs to make as much time as he possibly can. And saying when he fights these guys like he is, it makes it just that much tougher. And I think he knew right there. He's like, all right, you know what? I got to hit the pits here. I'm just going to lose too much time doing that. So he hits pit road. That's going to move Alec Coates now into the lead. Same out. It looks like Alex got a good draft off the 88 of Michael Spell, so we'll see if maybe he tries to pull some more fuel saving in that 3 machine as he heads into turn number 1. Right now we're on 52 of 86, 35 to go here. And I think if anybody can stretch a little bit more, I'm not sure what the magic number is going to be for these drivers to maybe try to make it to the end on the one more stop. I think right now everybody's on a 2-stop strategy still to make it to the end. Like I mentioned, pit window in the low 20s, I'm sorry, about 22 laps under green flag full rich conditions. So say with Alex staying out again, he's on lap number 30. He put on lap 31. We're on 53 now, so he's at the 22 lap mark now with 34 to go. So I think he would have to run basically high 20s on fuel to be able to make it to the end. So it's going to be a very, very tough proposition to do. And the other thing, of course, is how much time they're losing trying to save as much fuel as they are. So say again, we mentioned like someone like Kurt Rose right now. I think he's been really saving fuel as better as anybody. The problem for Kurt here is though he's only 13 seconds ahead of our race leaders, running a fairly slower pace compared to them, of course, as well. So you just kind of have to wonder where they're going to cycle out in relation to one another. So it's gonna be fun to see though. So I always love strategy in these races, and that's definitely what these guys got going for them. Actually, as I say that, Kurt Rose is gonna duck off. He's gonna hit pit road now in that 61 car. So that's gonna so Joseph Morales, he's gonna hold second. It's gonna move Jack Walls into third position. As saying, Jack's never one to shy away from fuel strategy as well in that 83 car. So we'll have to keep an eye and see how far these guys can go. Because right now, like I said, I think they need to get to at least 30 to go, and I don't see it happening, but maybe there's a splash of fuel idea or something like that they can pull out of their hats here. And yeah, here comes that number 3 of Alec Coates. He's going to hit pit road here, coming to lap 55, so it's going to be at 32 to go. So we'll see if Joseph Morales, can he go any further or not in that number 60, and he can. So Joseph Morales, he's going to cycle through as a race leader. You saw right behind him, Jack Walls hit pit road with James Ledford and Jim Brooks. And you can see right now, Joseph here has got just lots of clean air, lots of clean track around him. So, this is kind of the nice calm that you like to see. But so he's going to still have to make another pit stop, probably 2 more, as right now we're at 32 to go. Alright, so we're keeping an eye on Alec Coates up front. It's pretty much right now a 3-car battle with Nick DeGroot, Henry Bennett, Andrew Wood, Craig Forsyth not too far away from the picture. He's trying to creep in, and here comes Joseph Morales. He's going to hit pit road for his final scheduled stop, his scheduled stop. I think he's had to make one more for sure. And now we're going to jump to this battle for the lead here, as you've got Nick DeGroot, Henry Bennett, Andrew Wood. Not too far behind is Craig Forsyth trying to chase these guys back down as well. And unfortunately, with some of the stuff that, with the track position he lost, Matt Wagner, he sits in the 5th position here, about 5 seconds off of the lead pack here. So we'll see, maybe he and Charles Teed can try to work together, do some leapfrogging of their own to try to get back up to the front. Right now the fuel distance, or the fuel window between the leaders, it's about a 4-lap swing. Henry Bennett pitted on 47. Matt Wagner on 51, so Matt's got about 4 laps more fuel. As you see, Henry Bennett's going to go back to try to take the lead away, entering turn number 3. And it looks like he will clear that 89 car. We'll see if maybe the 89 of Nick Duke is going to maybe try to cross him over here and get the momentum back for the front stretch. And I think the other thing these drivers probably are doing here, setting up their potential race-winning moves here, make the right momentum call, make the right move at the right time, and be able to leapfrog that leader before they get to that stripe. Maybe it's entering turn 3, maybe it's coming out of 3. I think that's what these drivers are really trying to get familiar with as well. Alright, so at this point of the race, we have one more stop to go for all drivers here. Of course, the question is going to be whether or not it's under green or under yellow. So right now it's definitely got a good green flag feel to it. Right now this is one of the closest battles on track here with our top 3. Charles Teed and Matt Wagner, they've definitely closed the gap with one another. They're down to about a half a second between each of them. And then a little further back, Kurt Rose, Joseph Morales, those two sitting about 0.6 of a second off right now with these guys. Just outside the top 10. Again, they stretch their fuel window very, very far, so they don't have to take a ton of fuel in their final stop. So again, maybe we'll see that come into play for tonight as well. So we ran on Wednesday. The Dark Horse Series ran Pocono with the DW12 Indy cars, and they don't have, again, you don't have a lot of adjustment in those cars. It's pretty much all on your foot. There's no fuel map. There's no weight jack or any air or B adjustments, things of that nature. So it's all on the foot there. I tried going for a fuel strategy window, and unfortunately it didn't pan out for me. But what it did wind up doing though was I was able to pit and take just a splash of fuel instead of taking tires and fuel. And it did gain me probably about 5 or so seconds on some of those drivers that had to take a full tank of fuel. So that's where I wonder if maybe like a Matt Wagner, that little bit less fuel he's going to have to take in his 11 car, maybe that's going to bring that gap a little closer to Henry Bennett, Nick DeGroot, Andrew Wood, Craig Forsyth. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see. And the other thing, of course, too, is at the moment as they're racing here, I really think that Henry and Nick, they're really running full rich here, just kind of pedal to the metal. Craig Forsyth, Andrew Wood, I questioned. I think they're maybe trying to do a little bit of fuel savings in their cars, take a little bit less fuel at the final stop of this race. So it's going to be fun to see what strategies kind of are pulled here. And of course, the next question will be, when is that final stop going to be? Some drivers, I think the 20 to go mark might be about the magic number for our leaders. So we'll have to keep an eye and see on that as well. And actually, I talked about it. Let's go ahead and show it here. We're going to show our pit stop strategies here. So you can see the first pit stop, everybody pitted around lap number 25, 26 of our leaders. See Matt Wagner having multiple pit stops for him. Again, unfortunately being caught up in that lap 1 instance. So it's kind of got him off cycle in that number 11 car. But you see the second set of stops. So you see the 47, 48, 49, 49, 51, 47, 48. And then Alec Coates going all the way to 54. So that's the big mixed bag of strategies that we see. You see the Alec Coates as well, his additional stop there under caution at that 31 that's allowed him to go to that 54 mark compared to our leaders. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see kind of what these guys are going to do, as right now we've got a great 4-car battle here for the lead. As you see, Craig Forsyth makes a big move to the inside here, trying to see if he can work over Andrew Wood. And now it's all going to be about kind of who's got the draft. You see Andrew's going to try to steal that draft, and yeah, I think Craig, playing nice there, rolls out of it a little bit. And so he's going to just hang on into this lead pack draft here, as again, these drivers are going to try to find the clean air on their front wings of their cars. So right now I got a little front train here of 4. A little further back, Matt Wagner, he's been able to get clean air back on the nose of his car. I think he was able to get around Gary Corley, who I believe is just 1 lap down. And he's trying to tow along Charles Teed again. I think he really needs, for Charles T to get a little closer. Maybe they can try to that leapfrog. Oh, I see a little bit of a wing damage here. Oh, Craig Forsyth, something happened to Craig, unfortunately. I'm not sure what it was. We're going to go back. We're going to try to find what happened to that 27 car. And I think, oh, we just missed it there. Let's go a little further here. It looks like we do stay green. I think he's able to get off track quick enough. But unfortunately for Craig, a little mistake here, unfortunately, really going to hurt him. So we'll jump back. We'll take a look here. We'll watch this 27 car. As I believe it was through the tunnel turn, may have just got a little bit too tight and caught the outside wall. And I said we saw the body part, and yeah, unfortunately, it was unfortunate the 27 to Craig Forsyth. So we're on replay here, going to go look back to see what happened to our number 27 car, who's in that top 4 battle here. So we'll slow things down here as he enters the tunnel turn. I think may have just got tight here. We'll see. He lost a little bit of ground to the lead pack already, so I wonder maybe trying to make up a little bit of extra time here. And we'll see as he comes off the exit. Everything looks good, unless maybe I'm too far back another lap or so. Yeah, I think I'm off a lap. Apologies. So we got to go one more time around. So we'll do a fast lap here. We'll see how fast Craig can drive this car. Alright, hopefully it's this lap, otherwise we'll be doing this one more time. I don't want to miss too much up front though, so you can see it looks like a little wider here on the exit. No, I'm not doing a very good job on this. Apologies to everybody. We'll just go full fast forward here until we see it, then we'll go back and try to find it, which is what I should have done in the first place. Alright, so we're going to watch Craig go. This is where he puts the move off of 3, I believe. Yes, I'm like a lap behind or 2. Yeah. Here. We're going to do it the right way. We should have done it from the first place. Alright, so we're going to watch Craig here. Again, apologies for yeah. Sorry about that, Jamie. But you see he's a lot closer than the leaders this time. You can see he's right in the wake of Andrew Wood here through the tunnel turn. And then, yeah, just washes right up into that outside wall. And it's pretty solid contact as well. And so, yeah, that's where all the damage came from for him. So now, let's jump back live because up front, we haven't had any pit stops. We haven't missed anything there. I see these three continuing their leapfrog battle. But at the same time, while they're doing this, they are making really, really good lap times. Right now, running in the mid to upper 41s. Whereas, unfortunately for Matt Wagner, He's in the 42-second bracket on his own. And it looks like pit window just has opened. Charles Teed, he's going to pit as soon as that window opened up in the 5 car. And so what Charles is hoping for is if he could get a caution at the right time here, if something happens, he could be in the catbird seat in that number 5 machine. So now you see Joseph DeCiro is going to hit pit road. Joseph Morales had just hit pit road already in the 60 car. Again, I think that's Joseph kind of going off strategy, maybe trying to make a shorter pit stop in that number 60 machine. So we'll see now that these leaders, do any of them react here and maybe try to be the first to hit pit road of them? And yep, here comes Henry Bennett. He's going to hit pit road. And I think, again, this is where you race it like a road course. I think you want to do the opposite strategy. But look at Charles Teed, though. He's going to come out behind the leader, so this is going to trap him lap down now. So he's going to have to really hope this thing stays green out to be able to hold on to the lead lap, because this is where you get a little nervous here. So now it's going to be all about the in and out laps for these guys. Henry Bennett, he's hit his pit stall. He's having service done to his car right now, and that's what we're going to look at here. We're going to compare pit stop times in pit lane and pit road. And so it's a 8.05 second stop for Henry Bennett. And then his pit lane time is just about completed here. 42.23 for Henry Bennett, as now Nick DeGroot hits pit road here at 18 to go. And say now it's going to be Andrew Wood taking over with the lead. And so to compare Henry with Charles, Henry was about a second less in pit road and about 7/10 shorter as well in his pit stop. So Henry able to gain about a full second over Charles Teed, who unfortunately dropped back from the lead pack. But I said that's what Henry's going to want to see as well. He wants to see maybe build a second or so over Nick DeGroot, over Andrew Wood here under this pit stop cycle. So I'm watching Nick DeGroot now. He has had his pit stop service. He is 8.2 seconds for Nick, and time in pit lane was 42.57. So it's about 3/10 of a benefit for Henry. So now it's time for Andrew to try to make something happen here as well. So up front, that cycles Matt Wagner back to the point. He can go a little further than our leaders here, but he still is going to have to make a pit stop. Same thing goes for Alec Coates in that number 3 car. So we'll have to keep an eye on how they cycle through. Bud Steele, he's hit pit road as well. And say Andrew Wood, he just left pit road now. Say for Andrew, it looks like 8.03 with a 42.65 pit stop. He's going to cycle through right with Henry and right with Nick here. So these 3 were not able to get rid of one another here. As you see, I believe Matt Wagner, he's hit pit road. So it looks like this 3-car battle is going to continue on here as we're at 17 to go. Matt Wagner going to hit pit road. So with Matt Wagner pitting, that brings Alec Coates to the point. And so again, Alec's gonna have to pit here. He's gone. He's on 54 now. We are at 16 to go. So I suspect Alec gonna probably have to pit in another 3 to 4 laps. Trying to see. It looks like right now, as it stands, there's 9 cars left on the lead lap. There's a couple right on the tail end of the lead lap. You see Bud Steele there, Joseph DeCiro. Again, they really want to work hard to stay on the lead lap. They don't want to have to risk worrying about a wave around. However, up front, it's gonna right now. This is the battle for the lead, battle for the win. Everybody's good to go on fuel. So there's no strategy now. It's just gonna be try to make the right move at the right time. So it's gonna be Henry Bennett, Andrew Wood, Nick DeGroot. Looks like these 3 are gonna be the ones to battle it out to the finish. Unfortunately, Craig Forsyth, his incident a little earlier, that throws him out of the mix. And right now, with Craig's mistake as well, he has fallen back to about the 15th spot. So unfortunately, a big mistake that really is gonna hurt him on the points. And actually, Jamie, I have exciting news for you. My brother's actually right here in the room with me. So, I think you could feel the favorite son in the room, and I think that's where that comment came in from. So that's, yeah, good call there. Saying for the Kurt Rose update, he is sitting in the 12th position. He has made his final pit stop as well, and he is right there with Joseph Morales right now. Battle for the 11th spot between the 2 of them. And we'll have to see where they cycle out in relation to Alec Coates, but because possibly maybe they'll be able to see if they can. That might become a top 10 battle for these guys up here. I'm saying right now, Kurt Rose is our highest climber as well, plus 10 from where he started in the race. Bud Steele is plus 8 in that 6 car. Then Joseph Morales plus 7. So yeah, so a couple good climbers here early on. But right now, though, that 3 car. He is in a gaggle of cars, and I think he's just going to stretch this thing as far as he can on the field before he hits pit road here for his final stop. Alright, so right now, say still Alec Coates leading. As I say that, nope, here he comes. He's going to hit pit road. His final stop coming to 12 to go. He's going to make his final pit stop tonight. Again, that's going to leave it to these 3 here, and I think it's going to be who makes the best move at the right time. I don't know if it's going to be, do you want to be in first, second, or third coming to these final couple laps? Because again, we talked about how strong this draft is. It's going to be very interesting to see who's going to make the right call here. So right now, obviously, as you see Henry Bennett trying to hold onto the lead. Andrew Wood trying to get around Nick DeGroot there for a second. And Nick DeGroot, actually, he's going to catch a little dirty air there from the 83 of Jack Walls. That's going to bump Jack here, I believe, out of the lead lap in the 83 car. So right now, this is kind of allowing Henry to sneak away just a little bit. Not enough to break the draft here. It's about a second and a half for that to happen. So this is right now, again, the battle for the win. It's just going to all be about making the right move at the right time. A little further back, Matt Wagner, he's still got Charles T to deal with. They are sitting in 4th and 5th, respectively. I'm sure not the ninth either of them were hoping for, but again, with some of the troubles we've seen from some of our other playoff contenders, I think a top 5 is a good way to start off this season. You see Matt Wagner, he's going to use all the racetrack here to keep Charles T behind him. Charles, they're going to follow that snake all the way through, and just got to make sure you get that clean air, though, in the wing through turn 1 and turn 1, turn 2, or tunnel turn, and turn 3 as well, of course. So right now, Henry's actually holding pretty steady here. I'm surprised to see the gap that he's got with these guys. I really thought that they would be right back on his rear wing, but this might be a strategy call. Maybe try to lay back and see. Again, these guys, very smart, very talented drivers, so I think right now there's a lot of strategy going on. And also, I think, again, a lot of learning going on. If you're Andrew Wood, say, I'm going to roll out, let's say, 0.3 of a second off of Henry, and then I'm going to see what I can do. How long does it take me to get to him? What lanes can I run? What lanes do I lose momentum on? Right there, you see Nick DeGroot. It's a huge run there out of turn number 3, but wasn't enough to chase to get by the 64 car. But at the same time, though, Andrew did have some toe off the back of that 007 of Henry Bennett. So it's going to be really interesting to see. You see right there, Nick had to really roll out of it there in turn 1. But it's not all going to be clean sailing. You look just in front of our race leader there. You see a couple of lap cars here. I believe one of them is the 51 of Jim Brooks. Again, it just hasn't been his night. You got the 99 of Jimmy Drynan, who was having a great race before he got caught up in some incidents. So if you're these leaders coming around to 8 to go at the line, you're going to hope that you can clear these guys and that they won't play a role in those final couple laps. After that, they have a little bit of a gap till James Ledford, probably about 1-2 seconds from them. So I suspect you're going to see both these cars. I would hope probably roll out of the way for these leaders and let them battle it out for these final 8 laps here. But you see, oh man, look how much ground here Nick DeGroot has lost. I think that little bit of a bobble, he had that little bit of a momentum shift. He's lost a lot of ground, and you say, here they go, they're working through the traffic now. You saw, I think Andrew would try to see if he could find a way to sneak around the 007 wall, trying to get the 51 car as well. But you see, 51's given the space there, so he's going to let them on by. So that's going to leave now the 99 of Jimmy Drynan, and then the 48 of James Ledford. And I think from there, they'll probably be pretty fair sailing until the finish of this race. So, again, you're going to see right now, you see exactly what Andrew was doing. Oh, actually, I think I saw, we got one up in the wall. That is the 99 of Jimmy Drynan. A hard hit here. May bring out the yellow. He's off the track, I'll say, so we'll see if they let this run out. At the moment, looks like they're going to let it stay under green. So I want to kind of see what happened, but I also don't want to lose this battle up front. So we'll do a quick check here, see if we can try to see exactly what happened to Jimmy coming out of turn number 1. Looks like car just got extremely tight. You can see just already way off the racing groove. And yeah, just heavy contact with the outside wall, and then it brings him straight to the inside wall. And I'll say he's going to hit even harder there to that angled side. So brutal shot for Jimmy. And I say, unfortunately, night from bad to worse for him. I'll say I'm sure it caught the attention of our leaders, of course, as well. So with that, we do stay green. I'll say the race director going to let it play out here. It doesn't affect the say those off track, so they're able to let this thing pan out. And you've seen Jim Brooks has let the 89 of Nick DeGroot go by as well. So now it's going to be our top 3 battling it out here. Next time by, going to be 5 to go. Alright, I think the jockeying for position is beginning right now with 5 to go. Because the other thing again too, with the Area 51, with the Dark Horse Area 51 series, there are no green-white checkers. So if there's a yellow here, we're getting to about the point where they would not restart this race. So you don't want to probably wait till late until maybe 2 to go, 1 to go, because if there's a caution, that's going to be in. You see, here it goes right there. Andrew Wood, he's going to work Henry Bennett to the inside here. We'll see if he can keep the momentum off, but it looks like I think Henry's going to keep the momentum off the back, off of 3 down the front stretch. And indeed, he is. You see, almost separates him by about a half a car length there or so. So great momentum. So I think that's again going to be a learning curve here. These guys looks like the top side going to carry a lot of momentum on the exits of these turns. So we got 4 to go here. So they've got a few more laps for them to try to figure out what they need to do. Right now, like I said, Henry Bennett's been able to hold the lead here for these last handful of laps. But again, I think Andrew Wood and Nick DeGroot, I think they're just kind of plotting and trying to figure out what is the right move to make at the right time. So I think we're going to see Henry. I think he's figured out that line he's running there. Oh, is Nick DeGroot going to go below the white line? He's going to clear Andrew Wood. Nick's now going to try to see if he can make a move, but he's now going to have to try to also hold off that 64 car. As you see the 64, he's going to peek back low here, entering turn number 1, 3 to go. We'll see who's able to win this battle out of turn number 1 here. Look like all 3 leaders got tight there out of 1, but they all hold on to it. But Andrew is able to prevail, get that spot back from Nick DeGroot. So I think, and that's right now. I think if you're, Nick gets tight through the tunnel turn, hangs on to it. But I think if you're Henry Bennett, your best friend right now is you want these 2 guys behind you. You want them to battle as Nick DeGroot, or sorry, as Andrew Wood looks to the inside. But yeah, Henry's definitely found something that top side through three. He makes a ton of speed on the exit. 2 to go here at Pocono. Again, these 2 starting to fight one another. Again, you can see Henry working the draft, trying to keep him side by side here to his advantage. And that's what you got to do. You got to kind of play things to your advantage right now. But it looks like out of 1, Andrew has to roll out of it. Nick DeGroot's going to take over the 2nd spot. So we'll see if Nick has any tricks up his sleeves here to try to get around Henry Bennett here as we're at 2 to go. About a half lap remaining in this one. Nick gets a great run through the tunnel turn. He's going to send it into turn number 3. We'll see if he can clear Henry Bennett. He does. He's going to take the lead. Let's see if Henry can cross him over as we're going to take the white flag here. 1 to go. As you see that now the 89, he's going to play blocker. Now, as saying, it's been a little while since Henry Bennett has had the lead. He's going to go low. Andrew Wood is trying to find an opening here. They're going to 2x2 through turn number 1. Henry Bennett's going to take the lead again. He's going to give some dirty air as well to Nick, and that's going to put Henry now back to the point. Half lap left here at Pocono. All right, last time by Nick DeGroot got a huge run out of the tunnel turn. He does again. He's going to go straight to the inside. I think Andrew Wood may have caught the wall here. Can he do the same thing 2 laps in a row as he sends it into 3? He does take the lead, but is it enough here? Henry Bennett going to try to get the momentum. I think Andrew's out of it here as they come through the start-finish line. It is going to be Nick DeGroot by just about a half a car over Henry Bennett, getting the win here at Pocono. Andrew Wood going to grab 3rd position here. Coming to 4th is going to be Matt Wagner. And then Charles Teed rounding out the top 5 for tonight. But what a battle between Nick and Henry there at the end. So we're going to go back. Let's see if we can try to get a look again at this pass between the 2 of them here. As you see Nick, he got the crossover out of the tunnel turn like he did the last time around. and was able to hold on, able to prevent the momentum from that 007 Henry Bennett here. So we'll watch this again to get a better look at it. All right, so you see Nick got the pass completed there into 3, but then I say this is where Henry is going to try to use the draft as fast as he can to try to get the toe back on that number 89 card. We'll watch from Henry's point of view here, and you see he's going to immediately try to pick up the toe from Nick. But Nick's going to make it as difficult as possible. They say obviously going to block the bottom line, prevent that momentum, and it forces Henry to go back top. But by the time they get to the line there, about 3/4 of a car length. Nick DeGroot going to get the win here tonight at Pocono. So while we watch our drivers here kind of complete their slowdown laps, let's go ahead and run through our final race order of tonight. Nick DeGroot getting the win by 3.5 hundredths of a second over Henry Bennett. Andrew Wood gave it his all. Unfortunately, I think had a little bit of contact off of the tunnel turn on that final lap. He still finishes in 3rd. Matt Wagner recovers nicely. Not what he wanted, I'm sure, but still gets it to 4th place. Charles T to top 5 as well. You got AJ Hobson in 6th. Alec Coates in 7th. Bud Steele 8th. Joseph DeCiro 9th. Michael Spell in 10th. In 11th is Kurt Rose. Joseph Morales rounds out our lead lap finishers in 12th. And drivers a lap or more down, unfortunately. Benjamin Combs, James Lenford, Craig Forsyth, we saw, unfortunately, catching the wall through the tunnel turn. He did be able to bounce it back up a little bit to get to 15th, and he got Gary Corley in 16th. Jim Brooks never was able to get those laps back. He finishes in 17th. Jeff Hysong, same thing goes for him. Never got those 5 back. Finishes in the 18th position. And then a few of those other drivers that, unfortunately, got caught up in some incidents here. You see the 19 of Jack Walls, Jimmy Drynan, David Leclerc, and then Don Reedy, unfortunately, as well, getting caught up in some incidents. All those drivers finishing multiple laps down this evening. However, with that, let's see who we have a chance to have some chats with tonight. And I believe we're going to kick things off with Andrew Wood in that number 64 machine, who is going to continue his streak of podium finishes in all of his races. All right, so we're going to grab Andrew Wood. That was a great battle with you and Nick and Henry at the very end. Of course, a little earlier, you also had Craig. Unfortunately, a slight mistake dropped him out of it. Take us through those final laps, because at that point, it looked like it was just kind of everybody was jockeying for position and trying to, I think, figure out what was the right move to make at the right time. Let's say everything going perfectly. What would it have taken for you to get the win here tonight?
Yeah. Pocono's never been a strong track for me. I really don't quite understand. I've never understood what the best lines to take and the best ways to get an advantage are. So I was trying to learn throughout the race to see what could have helped me. And I think I had figured it out at one point, but I messed up the last 7 or 8 laps there, trying to set myself up for like what I could do at the end and what I couldn't do. And it's really tough when you're trying to battle 2 guys that are especially in the chase and wanting to go for it. You got to kind of be a little bit sympathetic to what's going on there. So I never really wanted to get into a situation where I'd be risking messing up any sort of championship. So it was a lot to play with at one time, trying to go for a win, but also trying to keep in mind what's going on around me too. So I was just kind of hanging out and seeing if there was an opportunity for me, but I didn't want to push it.
Yeah, and say something we did mention as well with and again, also got to commend you. Just the respect that that what you're doing. Because there's a lot of people that even if you unfortunately won't be able to make all of the final 4 races, so you kind of decided to withdraw your name from the playoffs and let the ninth place driver kind of fill in there at the end. So really cool of you to do that. And then, like you said, to then also have to try to balance, of course, because we know you're going to be a top 3 driver speed-wise with these guys, especially coming down to it at the end. So like you said, to have to balance between, all right, I want to win this race, but at the same time, I don't want to affect their outcome of the championship. So yeah, it's a really tough balance to make. So I really commend you on doing a little bit of everything tonight. I'd say it was definitely a lot of fun to see on that side of things. And then, so of course, the other question is going to be the fuel mileage, the fuel strategy, pit strategy. Was it pretty straightforward to say? Obviously, those couple early yellows, all the leaders opted to stay out. Were there any thoughts about maybe trying to do something off sequence to maybe see if you get a leg up on your competitors, or at that point was it just track position going to be too critical tonight?
Well, starting from the beginning, I actually had an extra lap on everyone. Henry 2 laps and Nick 1 lap. So if there was any chance for me to win this race just on pure pace alone, I had hoped to have a perfect pit stop right at the end there, and Henry pit, and I had a great in lap to try and get around Nick, who said he was pitting. So I really did my best to try and have the best in and out lap as possible. I knew that if I had the lead coming out of the pits and on the back straight, it would be really, really tough to get up to pass me. I didn't quite get there. I had kind of a rough stop, and I think Craig actually had a better stop than I did. He was like side by side with me coming out there. So it wasn't my best pit stop. And I had thought that I had played it right, but I guess not. So the last like 10, 15 laps or so was just me just trying to figure out how to race these guys to get an advantage and see what happens. And, I didn't quite win out, but as soon as they started battling for the lead, I just backed off for the last few laps there and just let them go at it.
Yeah, so it was a really fun battle to see kind of who was going to prevail at the end. It was the one thing I really noticed there was it looked like out of three that middle to top group, you carried a ton of speed through. You could run the bottom, but for whatever reason, say Henry was working that middle group, and it seemed like he carried a ton of speed off the exit of three. Was that something you had noticed as well for where and maybe when to try to make a move? Because it seemed like he did really well there. It seemed like one of the tougher places to try to make that pass.
Yeah, it's all about trying to figure out what the tools work and what lines to take at certain times, like when the tires were out, especially if you're the third car in line. So right before the pit stop, I was the third car in line, and I tried like 6 different lines through the whole entire lap, a whole bunch of times to see how I could have maybe gotten somewhat of an advantage. And I feel like it helped me a little bit towards the end, but it didn't necessarily get me to where I needed to be. So, yeah, it is what it is. Like I wanted to battle, but I also wanted to mind the fact that people are going for a championship. So once I knew I was out of it, I just said, you guys go for it. I'll be more than happy with where I'm finishing, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so it's something I say you'd love to see that from all drivers. So I again commend you for the sportsmanship that you're showing us, and really hope to see you be able to go after all of it maybe next season, hopefully. But just awesome job tonight, Andrew. Definitely want to give you the floor here. Any thanks and shout outs for your third place run tonight?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I do want to say, just for those people that are watching, I bowed out of the championship run just because I knew for a fact that the last race of the season I couldn't make. So I wanted to make it a fair championship. I came in here kind of late for those that were paying attention. And, I kind of made my way up the standings really fast, much more than I expected to. So, I wanted to make it a fair championship. And, I really enjoy running here. I say this every week that the guys here are really great and everything. So, I'm going to continue to race how I race. And we'll see where it takes me. And I really enjoyed tonight, and I'm excited to see where this championship goes. So thanks to you guys commentating. Thanks to the guys that put this league together. It's really a great time. And thanks to everyone who supports me, who watched tonight. And, we'll see what happens next week.
Yeah, it sounds good. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So these final couple of races are really gonna be, I think, really exciting. A lot of fun as well. So I'll say congrats though, great run in that third place tonight. I look forward to seeing you again next week and see if you can get a couple more spots from those playoff guys.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see kind of someone see how they shake out. That's not really in the points, but yeah, I never want to mess with anyone that's going for a championship. So we'll see what happens next week. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, that was our third place finisher, Andrew Wood. Unfortunately, again, won't be able to pull in Henry Bennett. He's still working on the family situation at home. It's about, again, not rough translation, but I'd say probably about 3 or so in the morning, so doesn't want to wake up any family members. So we're going to jump over to our race winner in that number 89 of Nick DeGroot. You were the regular season champion going into this one. Now you say put your kind of put your stamp of approval right off the bat here in the first race tonight. Getting the win there, a great battle with you and Henry, Andrew, say Craig earlier as well. So unfortunately he had his little miscue. But man, I say we saw the move coming to 1 to go, that move in 3, able to replicate it there on the white, coming to the checkers there. Is that kind of what you had plans going to the finish, or were you just trying to figure out what you needed to do to make that move to get the win tonight?
Yeah, that's exactly what that move was. You hit it right on the nail, right on the head. I was going to the inside, coming to the white, and I'm like, all right, if this gives me the lead and I keep that lead across the line, that's the same move I'm going to pull on the last lap unless he defends it. And it worked like a charm. Did it white flag? Did it come to the checker flag? Led both laps and won the race. So that was perfect. But man, I don't know where that run came from. At the end of that race, I was kind of like with 3-4 laps to go, like, all right, looks like we're gonna finish third. Hopefully Andrew gets Henry, so I don't lose too many points to Henry. And then I just got a big run on Henry on Wood on the outside of 3, and I was able to get to his outside before he defended it, and then just got that huge run on Henry at that point and ran him down, made that pass, and it was like, oh man, that turned around real quick. I was settling into third, and then boom, we're side by side for the win.
Yeah, it was an awesome fight between the three of you. And that's pretty much what I was mentioning. Was like it was gonna be just. I felt like you guys were kind of jockeying for position. Okay, where do I need to position my car to make the right move at the right time to pull off that win? And so you guys, I'd say, it was a really hard fought but clean race between all three of you. It was that was a blast. It wasn't a thousandth or 10 of thousandths of second difference. It was actually 300. So you have to work on that a little bit there. You did too good of a job. It looks like coming out of 3 for the checker this time. But man, awesome job tonight. I mean, the pit stop strategy looked like you guys were all pretty much on the same strategy. Was that just you guys kind of reacting to each other, or was that just more of like that's kind of just where the race unfolded, where those pit stops had to fall?
That's just how it worked out. I think we all ran until our tanks were dry. And I did not want to pit early because I like staying in that draft. I felt it was better than short pinning, of course, unless you got a caution. So I was trying to run it as long as I can, but I never really saved fuel except for under those couple early cautions there. But yeah, basically same strategy and just duked it out for however many laps. That was intense. And just the whole time, just looking for clean air. You saw us, we were like in different lines almost every corner. Wherever they weren't, I was. And vice versa. We were all just looking for that clean air. And if you found it, man, you'd get a huge run.
Yeah, you guys are putting on a really good show. I think that's the thing too. I think to mention was it looked like those, especially those last 2 laps. I mean, you got these just amazing runs off the tunnel turn where you seem like you closed the gap up really, really well there. Was that something? Same thing. Was that something you kind of found aligned to that worked for you, or was it just like you said, kind of happened upon it by surprise kind of a thing? Or it's like, oh, that was a great run. All right, let's do something with it.
Yeah, I was full throttle through the tunnel turn at all times. There were a couple times where it really scared me, but yeah, that would give you a monster run. And I was thinking about it towards the end there. Do I want to get them into the tunnel turn and then defend? I'm like, no, I don't want to give them the opportunity to get me back in 3. So yeah, I really utilized that huge run through the tunnel turn. Just stick it to that yellow line and don't hit the yellow line and just trust it. And it worked out. It worked out. Had a lot of weight checker in it though to make that thing turn.
Yeah, it was a blast to watch, and it was a well deserved, well fought finish between, like I said, you, Henry, and Andrew. It was just a blast to watch and commentate on. So, I say obviously starting the playoffs strong. Say, like I said, we're able to have the championship lead going into the playoffs. I say now going to solidify that. So get a little bit of a points margin over Henry with that win tonight as well. So I say obviously big picture. So you still got 3 more to go on that one, but for now definitely got to enjoy this one. So definitely want to give you the floor though. Any thanks and shouts that you like to give for that win this evening?
Yeah, just of course Factory Back Motorsports, Covymore.com, Motorsport.com, Cowboy Ship, Blaze Pods, U-Haul, Wegmans, and the family business DeGroot Automotive. I believe I forgot them in my last interview, so sorry, Dad. I won't forget them again. But yeah, just everyone that helps make this group just a fun, awesome team to be a part of. And you mentioned the title there, and of course it's the important thing, but I'm also going for that clean driver award. I've been paying attention to that all season, so I want that as well. I want both of them.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, I say that's on me. I got to put some race graphics up on that one because right now on the Clean Driver Award, you are the leader on that one. You've got about I say you've only had you only had 2 incidents all season long. I say that gives you basically 3 0.03 of an incident per lap, basically, and so the next closest is at is 14. So you've got a nice little margin there. So yeah, watch out though. Those guys might be trying to use that against you. Like, hey, he's gonna want to keep that clean. Let's rub on him a little bit.
Yeah, I was actually a little worried coming across lane because me and Henry had a little net Cody content. I'm like, oh no, was that a 4X? Like instead of like, oh, I won, I was like, oh no, was that a 4X? So that's still at the top of my mind. So maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that. They will use that against me now. Great.
I'll say maybe I'll cut the broadcast short. So no, unless they're watching live, I'll say they'll never know what happened.
Yeah, there you go.
But man, awesome job though tonight, Nick. It was a pleasure watching you guys battle out. That was definitely a lot of fun to be a part of. So I know you enjoyed it. I'd say it sounds like Henry as well had a lot of fun there as well. So yeah, just enjoy this one, man. Look forward to catching you next week.
Yeah, man, can't wait for Fontana. That's gonna be a crazy one.
All right, that is our race winner in that number 89 of Nick DeGroot getting the win tonight. Great battle between him and the other playoff drivers and leaders as well. Let's say playoff, of course, that's going to start shaking up a little bit. I believe the points have not been updated yet. I'm going to double check here. Yeah, points have not been updated as of yet, but I'll say obviously it's fair to say Nick DeGroot going to take the points lead going into next week at Auto Club. Henry Bennett will be in second. And so I suspect we'll see Matt Wagner, Charles Teed probably around the third and fourth positions as well. So again, it's not winner take all here. So say if you had a bad race tonight, you've got 3 more races to try to offset that. You never know what's going to happen to our leaders. But say we've seen that Nick and Henry, those guys are going to be tough to beat week in and week out. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed tonight's broadcast. I'll say obviously not quite the same without Steve being a partner in crime with me. But Steve, definitely look forward to getting you back in the booth as soon as possible. Hope you're doing well, sir. And I'll definitely get in touch with you here soon. So until then, though, thank you all so much for supporting us here at Green White Checker TV and, of course, Dark Horse Racing, Area 51 Racing League, and, of course, ESTV being a part of this as well. It's just so much fun. I can't believe kind of how far we've come in such a short time. So looking forward to see what else we have in store for us. But until then, hope you all have a wonderful evening, and we'll catch you on Thursday for the opening round of the Premier Series final or playoffs as well. So until then, though, have a good night, everybody.